all this water flooded out there. All this water is flooded out there.
It's crazy. Hey, shalom, Israel. Shalom. We live. We live. Go ahead and like and share the class if y'all could. Let everybody know we live. All right, there we go. Hey, shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War holding down the class here in Memphis, Tennessee. I want to first and foremost say Salakia for the late start to class. Had some technical difficulties, but we got them all solved, man. We in the game. We live. We going live. We're going to go for the 2 hours tonight, y'all. So normally I know Wednesdays I cut class a little short. We're not cutting it short tonight. We're going to go till 9. We're going to go till 10 o'clock. Central Standard Time, which will be 11 on the East Coast. So class might run a little late. But I want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, I'll get a full class in because I probably won't be able to do class tomorrow. All right. So again, Salakia for the late start time. Had some technical difficulties, but we up and running now. Wednesday night, every Wednesday here in Memphis, Tennessee, we have the biblical law class. You understand? Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been teaching so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians, the truth according to the Bible. The truth is that so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans come from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the 12 tribes of Israel. And the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that's contained in this book called the Bible is definitely important in these times that we're living in, because we are people who are lost and destroyed, scattered, you know, in every philosophy and belief and way of life. And what we need more than ever is the knowledge and the understanding of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on this earth. And that can only be found in this book called the Bible. So every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday here in Memphis, Tennessee, and every day of the week all across the country, the Most High has raised up prophets under command of General Yohanan to go out on the streets, to set up classes and set up schools, to teach our people who they are, to give us an opportunity to come back to the Lord, become who we're supposed to be so that we can reclaim our seat on the earth as the kings and the priests and the rulers that we were supposed to be. All right. Every Tuesday is a brotherhood class. Yesterday we had a good class. Went into some different topics. Today is a biblical law class, and tomorrow is scripture breakdown. All right. So we're here with the biblical law class. I like to first start off the class by asking brothers and sisters if they have any questions. If you have any questions, all you have to do is type them in. You know, we live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter right now. So any of you brothers and sisters tuning in, if you have any questions, please bring your questions forward. You know, it's always good to engage with the brothers and sisters who tuning in. Just know that the questions that you have, you know, you never know what question, you never know how a question you may ask could affect another brother or sister. So don't be shy. There's no such thing as a bad question. And if you have any, y'all can bring them forward. All right. So we ended yesterday's class answering some questions that I had received, you know, prior to class. So we was going through them. I'm gonna go back to the questions that I received from the sister Anisha. We're gonna go ahead and finish off with the questions that she had asked. And Lord allow, if you brothers and sisters have any questions, y'all come forward with them, and I'll be able to address those. All right. Let me just say this as I'm getting these questions that the sister had. Well, a lot of you brothers and sisters, you may be experiencing. Some of you it's your first year in the truth, and it's your first time, you know, not celebrating Christmas, your first time not celebrating Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? For some of y'all that's been doing it for a while, you may relate to what I'm about to say, but there seems like every year around this time of the year, you can get fatigued, you know what I mean, in your spirit. You can feel, you know, you can't really explain it. You don't really know why. You just don't feel like you know, you may not feel like you yourself. You may feel like you don't have that normal kick and that normal joy that you have in your life. And I want you brothers and sisters to understand that it is the weight of the world and the spirit of the wickedness that is, you know, permeating through this society that is affecting you. You understand? It's important that we learn to understand how our spirit affects our mind and our bodies. You understand? the way we've been raised in this society and the way that we've been taught to look at ourselves and to look at life, we don't really take the time to understand how things that are going on with us spiritually manifest themselves physically. You know what I mean? A lot of us have experienced depression. We've experienced, these different, what the white man calls mental illnesses. But coming into the truth, it's important that we learn to understand how our spirit affects our bodies and it affects our minds. And especially around this time of the year, if you're not conscious of it, you will be affected by that spirit of Christmas and that spirit of Thanksgiving, and you won't even really understand it. You won't even realize that the Jingle Bell songs on the radio and the goddamn Target commercial with all of the Christmas clothing and the goofy sweaters and the half off of this sale and that sale, it still affects you. It still can leave you feeling drained. It still can have you being down. And because you're in the truth and you serving the Lord, you're not thinking about, the holidays and all of the nonsense, but it carries a weight with it. This time of the year, it's important. It's very important that you be consciously aware of what's going on with you spiritually. And a lot of us, I'm saying it because I know for a fact that for many years, the goddamn Christmas spirit got me down. The Thanksgiving spirit, the whole holiday, all of it, I would get down and not know why the hell am I feeling this way. Especially brothers that's in the truth. A lot of times around this time of the year, we're not able to go out to camp and speak. It's cold, you know what I'm saying? We don't really go out with Esau's holidays and be in the streets when they celebrate their holidays. And I never would understand why the hell I hate the wintertime. I hate when it's winter. I hate when it's cold. I don't feel like myself. And it's because you're damn near your battery can be drained by all of the things that you encounter in the world that really goes against the spirit of the Lord, goes against the spirit of standing in the truth. So I want brothers and sisters to be aware of how the nonsense of these holidays can and do affect you. You got to make sure that you stay, and not to say that it'll cause you to, not serve the Lord or cause you to be weak, but just know it's natural. It's normal to feel down. It's normal to be, man, I can't wait till it get cold. I can't wait till this goddamn Christmas over with, this nonsense get out the way. If your spirit is vexed, just know that it's natural and it's normal, and you ain't the only brother or sister going through it. You understand? And so I just wanted to say that because I know I know how it has affected me over the years. I know how it's affected me in different times of my life. And I feel like, damn, why is it that all the time around November, December, I be feeling down. I don't be feeling like myself, and I'm not, satisfied with where I am in life and questioning different things. All of that is due to the Christmas spirit. All of that is due to the Thanksgiving and New Year's and what you doing for Christmas and happy holidays and all of the BS that we are against in the truth. It can and does weigh on you. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there for you brothers and sisters who may have been experiencing it and may not be experiencing it, but I know I've dealt with it in the past. And I just wanted you all to understand what it is you're going through. Okay. So again, the sister has sent me a series of questions that she had, over the weekend, and I got to addressing them yesterday. No problem. So here's another question she had. She said, why do you think so many black people kill each other over BS, but do absolutely nothing to the oppressors but kiss their ass? You understand? Again, for this sister in particular, a lot of the questions she's asking are questions that you begin to arrive at when you begin to understand the Lord, when you begin to see the big picture and you understand, the preciousness of life, and you see how, well, damn, the Lord gave us all of this knowledge and this understanding in the Bible. He gave us his laws and he gave us, his culture and gave us a way of life. Why don't we cling to the Lord? Why don't we stand up and being who we are? Why don't we, take hold of what is in this Bible? You understand? Why do we hate one another so much and we let the white man get a pass all the time? Again, like I said yesterday, the answers to all those questions are right here in the Bible. The Bible is not just a book. The Bible is not, just somebody writing what they thought or what they felt. You understand? All of the answers to all of the questions all of the answers to the issues that we are facing today are here in the Bible because they were issues that we were facing in the past. You understand? The questions of life, the keys to life and all of those different things, that philosophers have, battled over, for years, the Lord is giving us the answers right here in the scriptures. You understand? So let me go ahead and answer the sister's question. She said, why is it that black people will kill each other, will beef with each other, but we don't do nothing to the oppressor? You understand? And the answer to that, the answer to that lies in the spirit of jealousy that we have for our oppressor. You understand? We kill one another because we see one another the way our oppressor sees us. You understand? I'm gonna give you two scriptures for the sister that's gonna show her why it is that we kill one another, but we give our oppressor a pass. You understand? And it goes into the mindset that we have adopted, envying and wanting to be like our oppressor. All right. So the first scripture I'm gonna go to is Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31. All right, this is Proverbs 3 and 31. But there's so many scriptures I can go to. You understand? And I'm gonna go to them. All right, we're gonna go through these scriptures to show you why black on black violence is such an issue in our community, but black on white violence isn't a problem. First, we're gonna go to Proverbs 3 and 31. All right, Proverbs 3 and 31 says, "Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways." The Most High tried to warn us about being jealous of the people who ruled over us, about wanting to have what they have. You understand? And the reason why the Lord warned us is because anytime you are being oppressed, anytime you're living and you're living subject under a people, it's natural. Okay, let me say it this way. And this applies to all races, all people across the earth. If someone has you in captivity and has you in subjection, and they strip away your culture, they strip away your way of life, they basically dehumanize you, which is what white people have done to us in America. They dehumanize us by taking away our culture, taking away our language, taking away our identity. And so by dehumanizing us, they were able to decide what our culture would be. They were able to decide what language we would speak. They were able to decide what would be the basis of morality for us as a people. And that is why we find ourselves in the deplorable conditions that we're in today, because we have no knowledge of who we are. We have no culture. We have no history. We don't have a sense of morality. You understand? And so being in that condition, we'll cling to anything that gives us an identity. We'll cling to anything that makes us feel like more than just a nigga, that more than just, some child of a slave. And for many of our people, we have chosen our oppressor because of our jealousy of them and our envy of them and what they have. We've chosen their culture. We've chosen their way of life. We've chosen their ideologies and philosophies in life. Get rich or die trying. You understand? It's a dog eat dog world. All of those things that we have, we adopted from our oppressor. And so the reason why there's so much violence in the black community is because we see one another through the eyes of our oppressor. How has the oppressor caused us to see one another through their eyes? Because he educated us in his school systems. Because he taught us about who we were in history based on his story of history. You understand? He hid the knowledge of who we were from us in this book called the Bible. He gave us a religion of a slave serving and bowing down to his master and loving his master. And so we've been trained and bred through generations to be a people who are subservient, to be a people who look to our oppressor as being the master and the end all be all. And because of that, we look at them like they're Jesus Christ. We look at them like they're the people of God. And we look at ourselves like these are just no good niggas. These is, the slaves. Let me ask you this. I've heard several black comedians say, I love black people, but I hate niggas. I love black people, but I hate niggas. Have you ever heard a white man say, I love white people, but I hate hillbillies? Or I love white people, but I hate, trailer park trash. You never heard no white man say that. You understand? I ain't never heard no Mexican. Just think of other nations. I never heard an East Indian say, I love, Hindus, but I hate, the slushy man. No other race of people has a class. No other race of people has a hatred for themselves that is based on someone else's opinion of them. As a black person, for you to even make a distinction between a black person and a nigga shows that you're seeing yourself based on how white people see you. When I see a brother or sister, all I see is a brother or sister. How could you see anything other than a black man like you? Unless they're trying to be somebody else. I see coons, I see sellouts. Why? Because they're trying to be like the oppressor, because they're envying the oppressor. They taking on the white man's way of life. But what is a nigga besides what is a nigga? Besides somebody who rejects the white man. How can you, being a brother, say that you love black people, but you hate niggas? The white man taught you that. The white man loves black people and hates niggas. Because to the white man, black people are the ones who want to be like him. They're the ones he can comfortably rule over and degrade and beat down, because all they'll do is just keep trying to come and please massa. But them niggas, they don't want to conform. Niggas, they don't want to, be like the society. Niggas don't want to fit in. So we have a mindset that comes from our oppressor, that we love black people, but we hate niggas. That comes from envying your oppressor. That comes from seeing the world through his eyes. You understand? And as a result of envying our oppressor and seeing the world through his eyes, we begin to act like our oppressors. I'm going to give you Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. This is what the Lord said about the children of Edom, said about our oppressor. You understand? And because we have adopted our oppressor's way of life, because we have adopted our way of our view of the world from our oppressors, we have embodied what the Lord said our oppressor, the nature of what our oppressor is. So again, the sister's question was, why do black people kill one another and we don't lay a finger on the white man? I went to Proverbs 3:31 to show you that the Lord warned us about envying our oppressor and choosing their ways. And we've envied our oppressor. We had everything stripped from us. So we've been jealous of our oppressor. We've been envying them, wanting what they had. And we couldn't get it trying to be ourselves, so we decided to join our oppressor. That's why we became drug dealers and prostitutes and gangbangers. All of that culture comes from our oppressor. And in joining your oppressor and envying him, you take on his nature. And here's what the Bible says is the nature of our oppressor. Ezekiel 35:5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity and in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Because we have envied our oppressor and we've taken on their way of life, because we've taken on their culture and taken on their perspective, the oppressor hates us and wants us dead. He has a blood thirst for us to die. Well, if we're trying to be like white people, guess what we'll do? We'll take on that same bloodlust. We'll take on that same hatred, that same thirst for our brother's blood. And that's what's happening with gang violence all across the country. That's what's happening with drug wars all across the nation. That's what's happening with us killing one another over dimes and nickels and pennies, because we're trying to be like the oppressor. Listen, if you don't believe what I'm saying, you listen. The white man been a drug dealer for hundreds of years on the earth. The white man been doing cocaine since 1776, snorting it, smoking it, everything. The white man been getting high on marijuana, getting high on all kinds of things since the days of the Greeks. You understand? Do some history, man. The Oracle of Delphi was some white woman that got high, and white men would go and get high with her, have sex with her, and she'd tell them visions she had and things that she saw. You understand? All of these gods, these ancient gods that the white man worships, that the Egyptians worship, that the Babylonians worship, is all tied to, drugs and prostitution. You understand? You think that crack cocaine was a new thing that happened to black people? It was something that never been seen in the earth before. Go Google the opium wars. Google the opium wars and go take some time studying and researching that. Where the white man broke into China and opened up trade routes and took over the Chinese because he sold them dope. He got them high, got their leaders high, then took the drugs away, and you had Chinese men on their knees, you know, willing to blow a rod to be able to get a hit of the opium. What they did to us with that crack wasn't something that they just came up with overnight. They've had success with things like that. And we, seeing how they got successful, seeing how they got rich, we decided that we wanted to be a drug dealer. Listen, before there was any Nicky Barnes and what's the American gangster movie? Denzel Washington character, Frank Lucas. Before there was a Nicky Barnes or Frank Lucas, there was an Al Capone. There was before the Italian mafia, you had the Irish who were here. Before the Irish, it was the Germans and the Russians. You understand? All of these races of white men who reveled in crime, reveled in organized criminality, prostitution. You understand? The selling and distribution of drugs, murdering and raping. They were the first of all those things. Then as they got successful and moved and found themselves carved out a place for themselves in America, black people stepped up and said, man, we're going to try to be like the mob. We're going to try to be like the Italians, be like the Irish. And what have we done? We've destroyed ourselves and destroyed our community because we took on the culture of our oppressors, took on the way of life of our oppressors. And we have murdered and killed ourselves in service of our oppressor. The Lord said that because they did not hate blood, blood would pursue them. Well, guess what? We have not hated one another's blood. And that's why blood pursues us. We continue to die. You understand? And our condition, as long as we continue to follow in our oppressor's footsteps, as long as we continue to choose their ways and be jealous of them and seek what they have, we'll always end up at the bottom. Always end up killing one another and going to jail and suffering in poverty. The only way out is to turn and serve the Lord. Now, let me get you to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. You understand? Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. The Lord warned us. He told us that if we didn't obey him, we would end up killing one another. That if we didn't obey him, we would be at odds with one another, at war with ourselves, killing ourselves, destroying ourselves. And that is why black on black violence is prevalent today, because we are people who will not serve the Lord. And because we won't serve the Lord, we cannot love one another. We cannot be together as a people. We can't join together and have anything without the Lord being involved. Deuteronomy 28th chapter. You read Deuteronomy 28 from 15 to 68. It's the curses that the Lord said would befall the children of Israel. The punishments he said were going to fall on us if we disobeyed him, if we did not obey him and keep his laws. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of the children of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gate. The Lord warned us that we would kill one another, that we would hate one another, that our eye would be evil toward one another. And that's where you get all of your gang banging and your black on black crime, your drug dealing, the prostitution, the rape, the molestation of our sons and our daughters. All of it stems from not serving the Most High. All of it stems from not obeying the Lord. And if you don't obey the Lord, the Most High said he is not to be mocked. What a man sows, that is what he shall reap. I was having a conversation the other night with somebody, and I was just saying how we as a people, we're so destroyed that we have come to normalize, criminality. Like okay, I moved down to Memphis from Philadelphia, right? Before I moved to Philadelphia, I was living in DC. I grew up in DC, man. I graduated high school 2004. I think DC was the murder capital, maybe 2002, 2006, 2007. I mean, I grew up at a time, as I was becoming a man. The time when I was, becoming a man, it was so much murder and death going on in the city of DC. And I thank the Most High that I was able to survive and that he was with me in those times when I was a young man. But I remember, you know, that I remember, you know, the saying, I remember this is how I lived my life when I was a young man coming up. That if I don't do no dirt to nobody, won't no dirt come back on me. As long as I'm not in the streets involved in you know, gangster stuff, then I ain't got to worry about the repercussions of gangster stuff. You understand? And so I've been, you know, my time as a young man, I avoided the streets. I avoided the gangs. I avoided the, you know, the violence. And by me avoiding it, by me making sure that I ordered my steps and I don't cross nobody, I never had to worry about nobody crossing me. But cats that I knew that, you know, that for one reason or another, they was in the streets, they was out there hustling, they was getting money. Well, there are problems that come with that. You in the streets, then the streets is going to, you can't be in the streets and not deal with the streets. You in the streets, man, you in the world, guess what? The streets and the world is going to deal with you. You understand? And being in the streets, listen, being in the streets in essence is sinning against the Lord. And what do I mean? If you a cat that just, you know, you just buy weed, let's say you smoking weed, and you think to yourself, I'm just buying a little bit of weed, man. All I do is buy some weed and get high. I mean, you know, hang out with my friends and we smoke and we get high. You in the streets, if you buying weed, you are a customer. You understand? There's no way you can buy weed and not deal with drug dealers. If you buying weed, brother, you liable to be, you know, in the middle of doing the drug deal and some violence pop off. These cats that's drug dealers, they ain't living a peaceful life. It ain't a 9-to-5 job that they doing. They in the streets. And if they selling weed, then guess what? They are competing with another cat who's selling weed. You understand? Or they competing with other people. Or hell, they might not be selling weed. They might have a bag full of parsley. You out there trying to buy weed and then you get burnt. You go to buy some weed and niggas sell you some non-weed. Now what you gonna do? Now you just gonna be a hoe. You're gonna be the nigga who, you know, they sold a bag of grass and then you still gonna have to come around and see these niggas and know that they got you for your money, or Satan gonna get in you and say, man, you better let them niggas play you like that. You better let these niggas, you know, saying, think you a chump, think you a sucker. You understand? You out there buying weed, brother, you in the streets. You understand? If you a cat that just like to go to you just like hoes, you know, hey man, go to the strip club, man, throw a couple dollars at the hoes. Well, guess what? You going to the strip club, you throwing some dollars at the hoes. Who is in the strip club with you that's throwing dollars at the hoes? The drug dealers are in the strip club. The gangsters is in the strip club. The hoes in the strip club is gangsters and drug dealers themselves. You go in the strip club, you meeting women in the strip club. You just think you going in there, man, I'm gonna throw a couple dollars, man, maybe meet me abroad. You think you going to not get set up and get robbed, nigga. You think the niggas in there is not watching who throwing the money and following them home and getting abroad to, hey, listen, I want you see that cat over there? I want you to become real friendly with him. Be his friend. Find out what you can find out about this cat. Report back to me. I give you about a month. Find out what he got going on. You goofy. You think, yeah, I'm just in the strip club and I'm just having a good time. And I just met a girl in there. She danced on Wednesday nights. Goofy nigga, she is in the streets. You can't meet no woman in the strip club and not have, you know, street nigga problems. But we have people today where we don't even think. We think that, yeah, man, I just smoke a little weed. Yeah, I just go buy some weed. That's all I do. Or, you know, I just go get some pills. I got some hoes, man. I might get a whole pill. I might pop a pill myself. You can't be no drug addict and not suffer the consequences of being a drug addict. You can't be a drug dealer and not suffer the consequences of being a drug dealer. You can't deal with prostitutes and not suffer the fate of men who deal with prostitutes. But we as a people, we in such a condition today where, like when I said all that to say this. When I moved to Philly, like, man, Philly dangerous, man. Yeah, I was in the truth when I moved to Philly. Brothers in the truth was like, listen, man, whatever you do, don't hang out, don't go nowhere. Get on the bus, go home, and come to class. That's what I was told to do in Philly. But because of my experience growing up in D.C. and having survived, I felt like, listen, I survived D.C. the time I did. Man, I'm not about to move to Philly and die as a grown-ass man. You know what I'm saying? I learned the lessons of the streets, and I'm thankful to the Most High. He was with me. I moved to Philly and I moved around, man. I went different places and went out to different little spots and chilled. I do my thing solo. Never had no problems because I learned, I know how to peep with issues. I know how to peep issues. I know how to discern the spirit. I walk up in the spot, I can tell this is a friendly place. I can just chill and have me a drink. Or if I need to just go ahead and, you know, all right, I'm going to have me one little drink. I'm getting up out of here. You understand? But because I never been the cat that was in the streets, I ain't never had no problems with nobody. Ain't nobody had no problems with me. You understand? I was in Philly for about 6-7 years, man. Philly was a rough place. It's a very dangerous place. It's drama all the time in Philly. I moved to Memphis, man. When I first got to Memphis, that the brothers in the truth. But cats that I would meet driving for Uber or whatever I was doing, they was like, man, Memphis crazy, man. These niggas out here, they kill you for nothing, bro. They shooting niggas for nothing. And I used to say, like, bro, nobody dies for nothing. Niggas ain't just shooting a nigga for no reason. Like I've been around some street niggas, I've been around some gangsters, some mass murdering killers. You don't just kill a nigga for no reason. You don't just like, hey, that random nigga over there, go shoot him in the head. That's not what gangsters do. At least in my experience. But when I first moved to Memphis, they was like, yo, they killing niggas for no reason. Well, I've been in Memphis and I've moved around a little bit. And Memphis is, and like every other place I've been, if you're not in the streets, then the streets not gonna affect you. I'm not buying no weed out here. I'm not going to no strip club. I'm not dealing with no hoes. I'm not having sex with random women. You understand? I'm not taking any drugs. I'm not going to places where, where I wouldn't be there if I wasn't a criminal or I wasn't involved in something. So guess what? I ain't got no problems. There's plenty of people. If you avoid the sinful life, then you avoid the consequences of that sinful life. I'm relating the streets to. I'm trying to show that everything that is in the streets is sin. So if you dabble in a little sin here and a little sin there, the consequences of sin are going to catch up to you. You can't be a drug dealer. You can't be a drug addict. You can't deal with prostitutes. You can't be a hoe, sister. You understand? You can't be a man who just lives his life with no morals, with no understanding of what's right and what's wrong. And what we've been given by our oppressor, right and wrong, is all the way wrong in this place. We in a time where you can't even, a regular brother, not in the truth, can't even tell his children that he don't want his son to grow up and be a faggot and he don't want his daughter to grow up and be a dyke. Well, goddamn, what kind of time are we living in to where the man who wants his children to be what God made them to be is hated and viewed as a bigot and viewed as being somebody that's, not up with the times. We're living in a very evil time, man, a very evil place. And the consequences of that evil is what we're seeing play out in our communities. You understand? And there's no escaping the punishments of the Lord. There's no escaping the wages of sin. No amount of money can save you from dying the death of a sinner. You understand? Michael Jackson, rich beyond his imagination, died a drug addict of a damn overdose. Whitney Houston, you understand? Whitney Houston, famous, sang beautifully, best rendition of the national anthem ever sang. Whitney Houston died of a cocaine overdose in the bathtub. You understand? Don Cornelius, Mr. Love, Peace, and Soul Train man. He had him a white woman. Don Cornelius blew his brains out because of the problems that he was having dealing with that white woman. You understand? There are consequences for sin, and there's no getting around it. The Lord is not going to allow you to escape. So you want to know why there's black on black violence? Some black on black crime while we killing one another. It is because we have adopted the culture of our oppressor. We've taken on our oppressor's way of life, and taking on that way of life causes us to suffer the consequences that the Lord warned us about many, many generations ago. Everybody understands? All right, so let me drop that. See this other question the sister had. Hold on. Bear with me. Let me see. Now let me deal with the why we won't touch our oppressors part. All right. Let me get you to why we won't touch our oppressors. All right. Let's see something. Here's why we won't touch our oppressor. Give me Jeremiah chapter 49. Jeremiah 49. Jeremiah 49 and 15. Let me get man, hold up. Obadiah. Let me get the book of Obadiah. Jeremiah 49. Let's see, Obadiah. Let's see. Obadiah. Let me get trying to think. Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14, Jeremiah 49 and 16, and the book of Obadiah. Obadiah is just one chapter, all right? But the prophet Obadiah spoke against Edom, spoke against the so-called white man, our oppressor today. And what Obadiah said is very poignant in understanding why it is that we cannot touch him. Now, I could have gone into the Cain. I could have gone into Cain and how anyone who touches Cain is going to suffer 7 times. You understand? The curse that was put on Cain was inherited by Esau. You understand? Esau is the embodiment of Cain after the flood. But I'm gonna save that for another class, another breakdown. That's a very, a lot of meat. I don't want to get too much for y'all to digest. All right, let me go ahead and get Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 7, 49 verse 15. All right, Jeremiah 49 and 15. Jeremiah 49 and 15 says, "For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men." This is the Most High talking to Esau. You understand? The Most High said he was going to make him small among the heathen and despised by men. That is our oppressor. You understand? That is the Caucasian race. You go look around the planet, go look on the earth. There are more of every other nation than there are white people. White people are small in terms of their demographics and their population among all the other races that are on the earth. Over there in India, there's 1 billion people in India over there. You understand? There's 8 billion Chinese people in China. I ain't talking about worldwide. In China, there's 8 billion. You understand? Go down into the Philippines and Indonesia and North Korea, South Korea. Go into the Middle East and them Arab countries. There's look at blacks and Hispanics over here in the Western Hemisphere. We outnumber our oppressor. All the nations outnumber the white man. But guess what? He's despised by all of them. He's hated by all the nations. Why? Because of his crimes, because of his murder, because of his control. You understand? The Bible goes into that. Jeremiah 49 and 16. Thy terribleness has deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. The Lord said the white man's terribleness deceived him. Why don't we touch white people? Why don't we go kill them? Because we are deathly afraid of the consequences and the repercussions. It's something, and this is something that is, it's ingrained in us spiritually. You understand? The Lord told us that vengeance was his. The Lord warned us, that he was the one that's going to be able to punish our oppressor. So like on a spiritual level, you can almost say that our spirit won't let us go and kill them and raise up against them. Hell, but then you got to just look at history. Look at the insurrections. Look at the rising ups that we've had against our oppressor. You had the Nat Turner Rebellion. How did that end? Nat Turner and everybody that rode with him got hung and murdered. You understand? You had what happened in the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, led by Toussaint Louverture, kicking out Napoleon and the French. What was the end result of that? Haiti is, still is not recovered. The oppressor still ain't lifted their foot off of Haiti's neck. You understand? It's ingrained in us that there's great pain and sorrow and terribleness that comes with fighting against this oppressor. because of his cruelty. The oppressor in every generation has used his cruelty to keep us in line. That's why these past few years we've been seeing all these black people murdered on TV. I went back and I watched the killing of man, what's this brother's name? What's the brother's name who got killed for selling the CDs down there in Alabama, I want to say, or Mississippi? Brother he had a red shirt on, they shot him down. Man, y'all got it. Somebody in the chat, let me know what that brother's name is if y'all remember. Hold up. Somebody remember that brother's name, let me know. Alton Sterling is that brother's name. Give me 1 second, John.
I can't even say because I got really no, because I was going to I was my sister. But he told me that he was like, I just go shop at his car. Or no, I need this. I got different problem in my brush shop. What? Jack.
How do you do, honey?
Jack.
Here we go. Salaki, y'all. Salaki. All right, my bad. Okay, the brother who got killed selling the CDs in Louisiana, his name was Alton Sterling, right? Well, they just recently released the footage of the officers who was charged in killing Alton Sterling. And you go watch that video. It's a difficult video to watch because this brother literally was murdered and did nothing, didn't resist, didn't fall out. Like the way the police ran up on this brother, put a gun to his head, said, "We're gonna blow your effing head off. We're gonna blow your effing head off. Get on the ground." And the brother's just saying, "Man, what did I do, man? What are y'all doing? Hold on, man. Just talk to me. What y'all?" And they wrestled his brother to the ground, shoot him in his chest. He lay there bleeding, man. And the other cops come, the ambulance come. The cop who shot him say, F that N-word. You understand? He effed up. They let that brother lay there and die, man. You watch that, it's like watching a lynching. It's like watching somebody be hung. You watch what they did to Eric Gardner. You watch what they did, you know what I'm saying, to you know, Freddie Gray. You see what they did to Trayvon Martin and what they did to that sister Sandra Bland. And you hear them, you watch what they did man, who the brother that died in Houston? That all the rioting was about. What's that brother's name? Man, what's the brother's name in Houston, y'all? They just recently had the uprisings about George Floyd. You watch them kill George Floyd. All of that is being broadcast as modern day public lynchings. You understand? To traumatize this generation of black people, to let this generation of black people know, yeah, nigga, we still got the power. Yeah, nigga, when you get out of line, we'll murder you, we'll kill you in the streets, and won't nobody do nothing. Make no mistake, those videos get aired on purpose. Our oppressor is letting it be seen what they're doing to us on purpose, because it is a sign to all black people everywhere that we still in control. We're still in power. We still run this. You understand? And that's how they keep us in line. It goes right in line with what the Bible is saying about our oppressor. Again, Jeremiah 49:16. Thy terribleness has deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. What is the clefts of the rock? The mountainside. You understand? Up in the caves. That holdest the height of the hill. Who lives way up high? Who lives in the tallest floor of the tallest building? Our oppressor. Children of Esau. You understand? That holdest the height of the hill. Though thou should make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Most High. The Most High said that they're going to make their nest as high as the eagle. He was going to bring them down. This is the Most High speaking to our oppressor. The Most High speaking to the man who rules over us. And the Lord is saying, your terribleness is why you so proud. Your terribleness is why you so puffed up. You understand? And that's what the Most High is trying to get us to understand. You understand? All right. Now, next scripture we're going to go to is in Obadiah. All right. Again, this sister wanted to know, why is it that we kill one another, but we'll never lift a finger against our oppressor? The reason is because we are deathly afraid of lifting a finger to our oppressor. You understand? Deathly afraid. Let me get here we go. This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 10. Hear what the Lord is saying to our oppressors. The Lord say, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. This is a future prophecy about our oppressor. The Lord said, for the violence that they committed against us, they will be cut off forever. The day is going to come where they're going to be destroyed. You understand? Where they're going to have hell to pay. The Lord said that day is coming. You understand? Verse 11, here's why. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. The Lord said, our oppressor watched as we went into captivity, watched as we were destroyed by the other nations, and they sat there and they joined in on our destruction. They took a part in making sure that we get wiped out, took a part in making sure that we had our identity stripped from us. You understand? Verse 12, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. These are all things that our oppressor did. You understand? They glorified in our destruction. When we went into slavery 400 years ago, 500 years ago, when the Most High delivered us into the hands of our oppressor, they had no mercy, man. They reveled in it. They enjoyed every second of every minute of destroying us, of beating us, of hanging us, of raping us, of lynching us, of stripping us of our culture and our identity and our heritage. They thoroughly enjoyed all of the cruelty that they displayed on us. The Lord said they should not have done it. Verse 13, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, that thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Verse 16, for as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. The Lord is saying, in our destruction, all these nations have partaken. They've enjoyed themselves. They reveled in it. And we are not in a position of strength to fight against our oppressor. We are not in a position of strength, for the Lord is not on our side. We are not in a position to fight them and defeat them. And every brother or sister knows it. You want to know why black people don't go killing white people? Because what the hell are we going to do when we run out of guns and bullets and they got all the gun manufacturing companies and all the bullets? Don't know black people want no problems with no white people when it comes to warfare. Not when it comes to guns. But guess what? When you serve the Lord said he'd be an enemy to your enemies. We don't have the Lord on our side. So guess what? Our biggest enemy is the white man. We don't have the Lord. Matter of fact, our biggest enemy is the Most High. And black people in America know it, man. We'd never lift a finger to do anything to white people because we know the consequences and the repercussions are going to be dire and severe. That is why we got to serve the Lord. That's why we got to turn to the Most High So we ain't got to worry about killing the oppressor. The Most High do his job. All he asking us to do is to serve him, obey him. He'll take care of the rest. Everybody understands? Let me drop from Obadiah. Now we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 14. Start at verse 15. Go to verse 15. This is the Most High prophesying against our oppressor some more. And in prophesying against the oppressor, the Most High is letting you know what this man's reputation on the earth is. You want to know why black people don't lift a hand against white people? Because we understand their reputation. We know what they're capable of. You understand? Isaiah 14, verse 15. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. The Most High is saying they're going to be brought to death. They're going to be brought to suffering. Verse 16, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee. Meaning, and there's going to come a time when we're going to look on white people and we're going to look upon them and narrowly consider them. Like, we'll look at them like, hold up, man, what the hell is that? You look at white people, what the hell is that? Saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? We're going to look at them and say, these the people that was running the earth? These the people that was in charge? This is the big bad white man we heard about? And that day, he going to be in a cage, crawling on all fours, hairy as hell. You understand? But the memory of him will be that he's the man that made the earth to shake, that made all the kingdoms tremble. Why is he the man that makes the earth shake and the kingdoms tremble? Because of his terribleness. White man go and, drop bombs on countries where they got rocks to throw at them. White man go send a SWAT team to go, assassinate a cat when their government ain't even got no goddamn weapons to fight against the white man. You understand? He is a cruel and terrible beast. You understand? And that is why we don't revolt against him. That's why we don't go to war with them. That's why we would never even dare think about taking a shot at no military, conflict with our oppressors. They don't just murder us and kill us, man. So black people, we view them as their God. We view them as Jesus Christ, man. Everybody gonna kill Jesus. Gonna kill, the Jews. God forbid you do something like that. All of it stems from envying our oppressor, choosing their ways, taking on their culture, taking on their way of life, taking on their perception of other people. And that is why we kill one another and would never lift a finger to them. Everybody understands. So that answered that question the sister had. The sister didn't have any more questions. So we offer those now. If any other brothers and sisters have any questions like those, type them in. I see Sister Warwick has a question. She says, Shalom, sir. Salakia, sir. I never understood why the Most High gives us over to Esau for being disobedient, but got mad when he is cruel to us. Didn't he notice about our oppressor? Why is he mad? Isn't this what he wanted for us? That's a very good question. You understand? It's another question that comes from understanding the big picture. So, and understanding the big picture of life and nations and how the Lord has dealt with us as a people, you may ask yourself, well, if God loved us, right, and he wanted to punish us for being disobedient, and that punishment was being given over to the white man, why is God mad at the white man when he made him to do the things he did to us? And why don't God just let bygones be bygones? Why should we be angry at white people if we ended up in this condition because of our sins, because of our disobedience? Here's the answer to that. All right. Let me get hold on. Isaiah 47. Let's get Isaiah chapter 47 and 6. All right. This is the Lord explaining the condition that he allowed us to be put in and explaining why our oppressor must be punished and must die. After this, I'm going to go to Romans, the 9th chapter. All right. We're going to get this first. Isaiah 47 and 6. Then we're going to go to Romans, the 9th chapter. All right. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 6 says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. The Lord said he did these things. He was angry with his people. He polluted his inheritance. He allowed us to be destroyed, allowed us to be spoiled. You understand? He gave us into the hand of the white man. Well, if he gave us into the hand of the white man, then why are we mad at white people? Why aren't we just mad at ourselves? Why is the Lord going to punish white people? They just doing their job. Reading on in Isaiah 47:6. Thou didst show them no mercy. That's why. They were not merciful. They did not respect that the Lord was the one that allowed us to go into captivity. White people ain't respect God. They didn't look at God and how I remember, okay, I read a book. It was right a little bit after I came into the truth. There's a book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. Guns, Germs, and Steel. If you brothers, any of you brothers and sisters out there like reading, I suggest you check this book out. I'm gonna give you the author's name now. Give you the author's name. Hold up. Guns, Germs, and Steel is a book written by, hold up. Guns, Germs, and Steel, The Fate of Human Societies was written by Jared Diamond. Everybody understands? Brother, a cat named Jared Diamond wrote this book. And in this book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, he analyzes the past 2,000 years of European society. Goes all the way back to the days of, the inception of the European culture, to the days of the Greeks and the Romans. It goes all the way back, to when they, the way that they had to fight for resources and their living conditions was horrible. They was always cramped up and had to, really fight for power, fight for control, because they were in an area with limited resources. But because of these white people being bunched up the way that they were, living in caves and mountains, not able to grow, not having plenteous lands to grow foods and different things, they developed a very aggressive lifestyle, a very aggressive culture of warfare, of fighting, of always, conquering and reconquering in order to have control over territory and land and resources. And because of that, it sped up the white man's development of new weapons and new tools and new ways of fighting in order to be dominant. Also, the white man's culture and way of life of being nasty, being a homosexual, being a sexual deviant, they began to develop immunities to diseases because of all the nasty sex and the nasty, mixing and things that they were doing. So they dealt with waves of, different diseases, syphilis and, smallpox and these things, because they was cramped in these conditions living in Europe. Their immune systems were able to develop because of all of the warring and the fighting and the germs and the things they came in contact with. They were able to develop immune responses to different diseases and different illnesses that are out there. So because of their culture, their way of life, them being in the mountains, them having to fight over resources, the white man had much more of a evolution of warfare and fighting than other places in the earth where, hell, there's a ton of resources. We ain't got to fight all the time. You got your land over there, I got my land over here. So black people, Latinos and Native Indians, East Indians, Asians, you can come on in. You understand? Salaki, y'all give me a sec. Salaki, y'all. So because we had, an abundance of resources and lands that were spread out, you understand, we did not have to fight as much. We didn't go to war as much. And because we didn't have to fight and go to war as much, hell, we didn't have the development of weapons and tools and armor and steel like the white man did. Hell, we had so much land and had so much room to move around. We didn't have and we had rules about sex and different laws of, against homosexuality and against, threesomes and nastiness, that we didn't develop the immunities to diseases like the white man had. And so because of their culture and the way that they developed as a people and our culture and the way that we developed, when we came face to face with one another in this new world, when the white man started to spread himself down into Africa, you understand, where we were living as Hebrews amongst the Africans, and the white man came across the Atlantic Ocean and came to America and encountered the native Indians, you understand, and the tribes that were living here. He was able to kill us and wipe us out because his culture and way of life had prepared him to be dominant, to be supreme. The white man never looks at that and says, God did this. God worked all that out. Like, I read the book Guns, Germs, and Steel, and I saw that the Most High did this, man. This is the Most High doing this. You know, the Most High had them in them caves and fighting over resources and struggling in the cold and all the nasty sex they was doing. They built up their immunities and could be, you know, survive different disease strains and things like that. The Most High did all of this, man. I was able to see it, but the white man, he never sees that it was the Lord. So when he came and conquered us and killed us and put us in slavery, he looked at it like, I'm just superior, man. I'm better than them. They were made to be my slaves. And that's what the Lord is saying here in Isaiah 47. You understand? They did not show us any mercy. You understand? Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. They put a heavy burden on the ancient, on the Lord. You understand? And on the Lord's people. Verse 7, and thou said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou did not lay these things to thy heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. Meaning they did not lay it to their heart that the Most High was the one in control. The white man said that his empire is going to last forever. He believes that he'll never be in it. I'm going to get this scripture next. He believes that he'll never be in adversity. He believes he'll never suffer anything. He thinks he's going to live forever and rule forever and always be in power. He did not remember, he did not acknowledge that God is the one that allowed him to accumulate this power. That God is the one that allowed him to take us into captivity. Why? Because his terribleness has deceived him. Because his pride has him believing that he's the one in charge. That he's great because he's great and that's it and that's all. But he did not remember the latter end. The latter end is that the Most High is the one that has the judgment. The Most High is the one who decides who rules and who's in power. So going from Isaiah 47:6, now we're going to go into the book of Romans, all right? We'll go to Romans, the 9th chapter. And this is what is our present predicament concerning our oppressor and concerning us being the Lord's people, but still suffering under their foot. You understand? The Most High is a just God, and there's no crime that goes unpunished. And what has happened to us in the earth is a crime. It is a crime of biblical proportions, what white people have done to blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. It is a crime on the level of Egypt, crime on the level of the Babylonians, crime on the level, you know, that supersedes the Ammonites and the Moabites and the Girgashites and these other nations we fought against. You understand? Romans chapter 9. Let's get verse 17. All right. It says, for the matter of fact, let's get Romans chapter 9, verse 13. Go ahead to Romans 9 and 13. Right? This is the Most High speaking about Esau and speaking about the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. Romans 9 and 13 says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. The Lord said he loved Jacob. He loved blacks, Latinos, Native Indians. The Lord said he hated Esau. Reading on, verse 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? Shall we say God is unrighteous for this? Why would we say God is unrighteous? Because Jacob and Esau were children. Jacob and Esau hadn't done anything. Why did the Lord love Jacob and hate Esau? That's not right. That's what you would think in your mind. That ain't right. Why would the Lord hate Esau? Verse 15, for he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. The Lord decides who he's going to be merciful towards, and he decides who he's going to be compassionate with, or who he's going to give compassion to. Verse 16, so then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that shows mercy. Mercy is not based on what you're doing. Mercy is the Lord deciding give them some mercy. And if the Lord decides on that mercy, then guess what? You're going to have to go through it. But the Lord decides either way. You understand? Let me read on. Verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. The Lord said to Pharaoh, I raised you up, Pharaoh. I raised you up, made Egypt great. Let Egypt get all this power, let Egypt get all this might, just so that I could show how powerful I am in destroying you. Well, guess what? That's why the white man is in charge. That's why he's in power. That's why we would win the captivity under them. The Lord wanted them to get so big and bad, so mighty, so powerful, so strong, that when he came through and wiped them out, everybody would know that they were not God, but that there is a God, and he's real, and he's more powerful than them. Read on, verse 18. Therefore he have mercy. Therefore have he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. You understand? Verse 19, thou wilt say then unto me, why does he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? That's the question the sister asked. Why does the Lord find fault with Esau? Why do we find fault with Esau? He's just doing what he was put in to do. He did what he did to us because the Lord wanted to punish us. Verse 20, nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Who are you to question God? Who are you to say that ain't right? Why would God want to kill them when they just doing the job that he needed to get done? Don't reply against God. Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Should you look at the Most High and say, why I gotta be a king? Why you make me a king? Why we gotta serve you? Why we gotta obey? Why can't we do like these other nations and not obey? You cannot question the Most High and ask him why he made you this way. Guess what? The white man can't do it neither. White man ain't gonna say, oh God, why did you make us so cruel and evil to punish everybody and to kill the way that we kill? Why did you make us this way? No, the white man just does his job. He does what he's put here to do. And he's good at it. Like General Hyman say, he's a worthy adversary. This man who we battling against, everything that he was sent to do, he has done it. He was made to be the devil, the Bible speaks of. And guess what he's done? Oh, he's been a devil. He's been the devil. Everything this Bible says about the devil and about the synagogue of Satan and about the evil kingdom, the sinful kingdom, that is our oppressor. They fully embody what the Bible said they would be. Well, why don't we? Why haven't we? Why haven't we done what the Bible said we're supposed to do? Your oppressor doesn't have a problem with it. He doesn't question his nature. Read on, verse 21. Has not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? The Most High is the potter. He made us all. He could decide this one's going to be great. This one's going to be something special. This one, trash, garbage. I always use the analogy of a cup. The cat that made this cup, right, made the cup to drink out of. Pour you a nice little drink in there, have something to drink, have a nice little sip. Guess what? With that same clay he made this cup with, he can go make a toilet. And guess what? You don't drink out that toilet. You don't take what's in that toilet and put it inside your body. That toilet is used for what comes out your body. That toilet is used for the dirtiness and nastiness. Well, guess what? The potter has the power to decide. What is it going to be a cup filled with luscious, delicious beverages, and what is going to be a pot for you to piss in and throw out the window. You understand? Verse 22. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? That is who our oppressor is. They are the vessels for wrath fitted for destruction, and the Most High has put them here so that he can show his power in them. That's the reason why. They are going to be punished. They are going to be destroyed because they have been criminals. They have been the devil on the earth. And the Most High is going to get vengeance, and we are going to see it. And those of us who are allowed to see it, it is going to be, it's going to be the coronation, the coronation or the accumulation The culmination is the word I'm looking for. The culmination, it'll be the end of a thousands-year-long struggle, of good against evil. Everybody understands. Of course, everything I just broke down, there's plenty of other scriptures I could go into, but to answer the sister's question, I wanted to go straight there. Everybody understands. All right. See, Sister Walker said, was Esau a Hebrew being he came from Isaac? If so, does that mean Edomites are Hebrews? Okay, this is a good question. Another good question. Okay. How can I put this? Okay. Being a Hebrew, okay, it's all right. Try to explain it. Okay, on the surface level, yes. I mean, not on the surface level. On the base level, yes, Esau was a Hebrew. Esau is a Hebrew because he's descended from a man named Eber. You understand? Esau is descended because of a man. Esau is a Hebrew because he's from the lineage of Eber. That's what it means to be a Hebrew. It means you are from the lineage of Ibariah. Ibariah is a brother who lived around the time of the flood. You understand? Not at the time of the flood, lived around the time of the spreading of the languages, where the languages were confounded, right? But here's what we know about that time. Salakia. What we know about that time on the earth. What was I just saying? I lost my train of thought for a second. All right. Ibariah lived during the time of the scattering, the dividing of the nations and the scattering of the tongues, right? So Ibariah held on to the language, the original language, right? That name Ibariah in our language, it means from the past. You go look in your Zondervan dictionary, it'll tell you that Hebrew or Ibariah means to cross over. That is not what Ibariah means. You understand? In the context of how we talk and how our language is written, Ibariah means from the past, right? Ibariah. His name was Ibariah because he held on to the language from the past. So during the time when he lived, this brother Ibariah was like what we would call old school. He was like a Renaissance. He was like an old school cat from the past. You understand? Okay, when Abraham was called a Hebrew, it was not only because he was a descendant of Ibariah. It was because Abraham had the culture of a man from the past. By the matter of fact, I gotta go get into it. This is a good question, sis. Let's go ahead and get you the Hebrew, the breakdown of what it means to be a Hebrew. Everybody understand? Again, the surface level of being a Hebrew, not the surface level. There's one level of being a Hebrew, which is you're a descendant of Eber. Everybody who's a descendant of Eber or Ibariah, they are Hebrews. Esau's a Hebrew. Ishmael's a Hebrew. Ammon, Moab are Hebrews. All of Edom are Hebrews. If you want to look at it that way, right? So there's the literal. Are you descendant of a man named Ibariah? You're a Hebrew. Abraham was not called Ibariah because he descended from Eber. Abraham was called Ibariah for a different reason. Let's get it in the Bible. Hold up. All right, let's get Genesis chapter 14. Hold up. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's good. Genesis 14 and 13, right? So we're gonna get some understanding of why Abram was called Ibariah. All right, it's Genesis 14, 13. It says, and there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. Now, all these men are descendants of Abariah. All these men are from the bloodline of Eber. Why is Abram known as the Hebrew? Why is he known as Abram the Hebrew? You have to understand where Abram was at this point in his life. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 12. Hold on, let me see something. Hold up. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Trying to find it. Bear with me, y'all. Hold on. Right, hold up. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. So get these scriptures right. Okay, boom. All right, hold on. Okay. All right. Genesis 10 and 25 tells us, it says, and unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Right? Eber or Abariah, he passed on to his son Peleg the Hebrew language. He had the original language, right? Remember, Abariah means from the past. This brother was born, this brother lived on the earth. During the days of his children, the nations were scattered and divided, and the languages were created. The tongues were changed, right? Abariah held on to the original language, and he passed it on to his son Peleg. And Peleg goes on and passes it down to his lineage. In Genesis, the 11th chapter, verse 17, and Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and begat Ru. Going all the way down until verse 29, we get to Abram. Abram, who's from, you understand? Abram, who's from the lineage of Abariah. Everybody understands? The sister said, Peleg with the earth being divided, was that an earthquake or division with linguistics? It was both. It was some kind of calamity on the earth. Some calamity on the earth scattered the people, and as the people were scattered, they developed different languages, different ways of communicating with one another. Everybody understands? This is one of them. Again, I got a lecture I'm going to be doing about the flood of Noah. You understand? And this time on the earth with Peleg and the languages being divided is what we would look at as a catastrophe on the earth or earth changing event is what occurred during this time when all of the languages were confounded. But I don't want to get too much into it. I'm working on still workshopping this lecture. Everybody understands? But during the times of Peleg, something happened in the earth where all of the nations got divided, all of the languages got confounded. The Bible says the Lord did it. It was the Tower of Babel, what caused it, right? So we read in here in Genesis 11 that Abram came from the bloodline of Abariah. Now, when we get to Genesis 12, right? Now the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and will make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. Hold up. So lucky, y'all. You understand? Reading on to Genesis 12. Genesis 12 and 4. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. Hold on. Hold up. Hold on. Oh man, okay. It's just one more scripture I wanted to add in here, where it talked about why Abram left his father's house, right? The Lord wanted Abram to leave his father's house and leave where he was living because the people there were living like heathens. They were not obeying the laws. They were not serving the Most High. The Most High came to Abram to see if Abram would obey him, would serve him. You understand why? Because the people during the time of Abram, no one was obeying the Lord. Nobody was keeping the culture that Abaryah had passed down. Nobody was living by the laws that Abaryah had passed down. Nobody was keeping the customs that Abaryah had passed down. Abaryah passed on the Hebrew language to his children because he was the man who held on to that which was from the past. His name meant from the past. He held on to everything that was received from the past, which was the culture and the language and the way of life of Adam, that was passed down to Noah, that was passed down to Abaryah, that he passed on to Peleg, who passed it on to his children until we got to Abram. During the days of Abram, nobody was keeping that old way. Nobody was keeping that old culture, that old lifestyle. Abram was a man who the Lord found and said, this is a brother who I think is going to serve me. This is a brother who will obey me. So when the Lord began to speak to Abram and Abram obeyed the Lord, Abram began to embody and take on the culture that was from the past, the way of life that was from the past. Abram began by obeying the Lord. He embodied everything that Abaryah held on to from the past. So as Abram is living in Egypt and living around these other nations, the other people in these lands look at Abram like he's someone from the past. This is a cat from the past, man. Look, he keeping the old ways, the old customs, the old culture. In his day and time, Abram, that worshiping idols, was revolutionary. In his day and time, Abram not having sex with heathens was revolutionary. In his day and time, Abram, the things he was doing were revolutionary. Making sacrifices, building an altar. He was living like a man from the past, which is why they called him Abram Abaryah. Abram from the past, because he kept the culture and the way of life that was from the past. Everybody understands. That is why he is called Abram the Hebrew in Genesis, the 14th chapter. Genesis 14 and 13. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. These cats who lived in this place, they called him Abram the Hebrew because he was Abram, the man from the past. Lived like a cat from the past. Abram was old school. Abram had old school morals, old school way of life, spoke the old language. You understand? This was a brother who was very much from the past. That is why Abram was called a Hebrew. He was not called a Hebrew because he was a descendant of Abaryah, because many men were descendants of Abaryah, but not everybody embraced what Abaryah passed down. Not everybody embraced the culture from the past, the language from the past, the way of life from the past. But Abram did. That is why he was known as Abram the Hebrew. Everybody understands? That's why he was known as Abram the Hebrew. So to answer the sister's question, Esau is a Hebrew, meaning bloodline. He is from the lineage of Ibariah. But they are not Hebrew in the sense that Abraham was a Hebrew. The only men today who are Hebrew in the sense of Abraham are those who are in the truth, are those who obey the Lord. Now, again, if you're from the lineage of Ibariah, you're Hebrew. But if you want to be a Hebrew like Abraham was a Hebrew, then you got to be in the truth. Because what does being in the truth do? Being in the truth makes you like a man from the past. Being in the truth makes you live like you're from the past. Speak the language from the past. Have the morals from the past. Have the culture from the past. The way of life from the past. That's what it means to be Hebrew in the sense that Abraham was a Hebrew. You understand? Abraham was not known as Abram the Hebrew because he was a descendant of Ibariah, or else his father Terah would have been known as Terah the Hebrew. He wasn't known as Terah the Hebrew because he wasn't living like Ibariah. Abram was known as Abram the Hebrew because he was Abram, the man from the past. He's old school, man. That's like, it was to call Abram a Hebrew then would be like calling a cat old school today. It'd be like saying, man, that's soccer war, man. He old school, man. But in that time, being old school meant one thing. It meant Ibariah. Being old school meant he was Hebrew, man. This cat, look at this cat, he's Hebrew, man. He from the past. Brothers see you today. They see us today wearing our garments and rocking our Hebrew attire. They say, man, that's a Hebrew, man. Not even knowing. They literally saying, when they literally call you a Hebrew, they saying, man, that's a cat from the past. It's amazing. That's the meaning behind it. Everybody understands. All right, so Waraka, let me know that answers your question. All right. All right. That's a lot here, y'all. I know I said I was gonna go till 10, but I forget. Like I said, I forget that on the East Coast it's 10:30. I know it's Wednesday night. Brothers and sisters got slaveries and things they gotta do tomorrow. We down here in the Midwest. You understand? It's 9:30 this time. Normally class will be clipped. If no other brothers and sisters have any questions, I'm gonna go ahead and clip the class. All right. I'll clip the class and might not be able to do class tomorrow night. I'll be traveling. Lord willing, I'll be back. See y'all next Tuesday, all right? Again, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge down here in Memphis, we have classes, teach so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. The truth is that so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians descended from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. We are living in very, very defining times. We're living in a very defining moment in our history as a nation, in our our timeline as a people. We're living in a very, very defining time in the history of the earth. Now is the time for so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians to find out who they are, find out who God called you to be, and stand in the life that the Most High has chosen for us. You understand? We're not in a time to be riding the fence. We're not living in a time for you to be undecided on what side of the fence you stand on. The Most High is drawing a line in the earth, and on one side is going to be the righteous, on the other side is going to be the wicked, and on Judgment Day, the Most High is going to sort it all out. Brothers and sisters, choose to stand on the side of the Lord. Choose to stand on the side of righteousness. Fight your sins, fight your demons, fight the things in your life that are causing you to stray away from the Most High, so that we can reclaim our seat as the righteous rulers, kings, priests, and family that the Lord called us to be. With that, Shalom, Israel. We'll see y'all next time.